Good morning, Unity of Mesa. We're going to begin with a congregational. The words are easy. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am. And just in case you think that's too many words too fast, we do have them up on the PowerPoint. So bring your heart, bring your energy, and bring your love as we begin.
I am as God created me, in the light and the love and the glory. I am as God created me, in the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. I am. In the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. I am.
Pick it up.
I am as God created me. In the light and the love and the glory. I am as God created me. In the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. I am. In the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. In the light and the love and the glory. I am as God created me. In the light and the love and the glory.
One last time.
I am as God created me. In the light and the love and the glory.
Ooh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please be seated. My name is Reverend Mindy Tucker, and I am one of the new co-ministers here at Unity of Mesa. Woo! Your speaker today is Reverend Nickie Golden, the other co-minister at Unity of Mesa. Our board member of the day is Louise Zeman. Our announcer is John Groves. Our poetry reader is Charlotte Kessler. And on piano, we have Anthony Mervin. Yes, yes, yes. Let's take a moment to center ourselves, to become still, to come together in heart and mind, in one purpose, knowing that we are here to enlighten, to empower, and to energize not only the people who are tuning in at this very moment, this ministry, our community, and the world. We are a beacon of light, of love, of hope, and of joy. So it is, and so we let it be. Together, we have an affirmation of intention that we begin with, and this one is an intention of awareness. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing. So as you consider yourself as the thinker, what thought are you holding? And what do you want to create in your life, in your well-being, in your financial affairs, and in the world? Let's say together, I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing.
We are connected, heart to heart, spirit to spirit. Together we are joined in the promise of unity and the vision of our greater yet to be. As we come together in faith, we align with the truth of who we are, and we realize we're standing in the presence, standing in the presence, standing in the presence of the divine. We are standing, standing in the presence of the divine. We are connected, heart to heart, spirit to spirit. Together we are joined in the promise of unity, and the vision of our is great yet to be. As we come together in faith, we align in the truth of who we are, and we realize we're standing in the presence, standing in the presence, standing in the presence of the divine. We are standing, standing in the presence of the divine.
As our mini lesson for today, I'm actually inviting you to become the teachers. Next week, during the Easter service, we will have the opportunity to share your wisdom and your learning and your sage advice with the children of Unity of Mesa. So on these pieces of paper, and I know for the last couple of weeks, you've been asked to write sage things for another purpose. But this week, I'm asking you to write what you wish you knew when you were a child or even a teen. And it can be something as filled with hope as things will get better. That's a whole campaign. Things will get better. And it could be that's what you want our children to know. It could be to remind them that they are loved, and so are we. It could be something incredibly profound. And I asked the children last week to share what their wisdom is, and you will hear that come out in my Sunday lesson next week. But for this week, if you could take that opportunity and write down something that you wish that you knew when you were a child. Very simple. She did that. Okay. All right. The other thing that I'm going to ask in this take the opportunity to ask right now is if you are interested in participating in our Maundy Thursday service this Thursday at 7 o'clock, I need 11 more candle lighters. We're going to do a little bit of a 12 powers ceremony. We're going to have foot washing. We're going to have communion. And we need 11 more candle lighters. I have one so far. I have a clipboard. I will hunt you down if you don't, so that you can be voluntold if you don't want to volunteer. All right? Thank you so much. And now on to John.
Good morning, Unity of Mesa. This morning, I have a few things for you to know. This Thursday coming up is Maundy Thursday, where we will celebrate metaphysically the two rituals that Jesus modeled at the Last Supper. Members of the board and chaplain team, and as Reverend Mindy just indicated, a few additional volunteers to handle candles, will be meeting and offering a unity-style communion and foot and hand washing. I'm looking forward to it as being one of the participants. Next Sunday, we will be celebrating Easter, and we have two services scheduled. We will have a sunrise garden service at 6:45 in the morning. This is a beautiful outdoor service, And then at 10:15, we'll have our intergenerational service. And we'll be meeting in the garden after and probably join in to a degree the children's Easter egg hunt. And we'll have a special guest hopping in as well, we trust. Earth Day is coming, April 24. And in honor of that, Youth Ministry is hosting an intergenerational event on sustainability, a way to make Earth Day every day. Join Amy and Lori for a prepared vegan lunch, tips and tricks on what you can do to help the planet, and a fun herb planting project. There's a suggested $10 love offering, and advance registration is requested in order to have enough food and supplies for all. You'll find all the information you need about our upcoming services and events and more on our Things for You to Know website page at unityofmesa.org. Earth Day event registration will also be available in the bookstore. Now, I want to thank you for sharing your love and light with us this morning. Please know that your soul is welcome here. And now, let's share our guiding statement to remind us why we come together. Shall we read it together? We are here to experience more of the fullness of who we truly are in order to transform the world. All are welcome here. Now, let's welcome Charlotte Kassler, who will be sharing a poem by the ancient Persian poet Rumi. Charlotte? That's a challenge. Yep. There you go.
Good morning. I'm going to read a poem for you. You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with wings. You are not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly.
Let's give her a hand. Beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Thank you. I love hearing youth read the poem, don't you? And what amazing words. What we are born with, potential, trust. We were born with wings that are meant to fly, wings that are inviting us into living our dreams as fully as we can. Is this something you're interested in? Come on, is this really something you're interested in? I want to hear it with gusto. Yes, yes. When we are excited, it echoes back to us from the universe. Those things that we believe, that we are born with wings. And we know that they're metaphorical wings, but we have within our minds the ability to fly. I want you to imagine your favorite place right now, wherever that is. Now take a moment and imagine your favorite person standing in that favorite place. And then what you might want to say to that person. So did you just fly in your imagination? I hope so. I hope your favorite place is a place you really want to be. And I hope that your favorite place and your favorite person as you come together are people that you just delight in, who also send their heartfelt delight to you. Today we're talking about the promise of the presence. And that presence is the presence of God within us, within each of us. That promise is what Anthony sang about, that heart to heart, spirit to connection that stands in the presence of the divine. But that's us standing in the presence of the divine. So I want you to look around and see that you are in this moment in the presence of the divine. When we know that, when we live that, we see the world differently. Would you change the slide, please? Perception. When we know that we are standing in the presence of the divine, we are standing in a particular perception. Now, Reverend Eric Butterworth, a very old Unity writer, says that we don't see the world as the world is. We see the world as we are. So when we are willing to stand in the presence of the divine and know that that's already within us, when we are willing to look at each other and to see only the presence of the divine, then our perception makes a difference. How we are perceiving the world makes a difference, because we're going to see it differently than if I'm like going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I had to get up today. This is the most boring day I've ever had. And when I was a kid, I was very much like that. I thought time went on forever. But now it seems to go so fast. Like, it's just amazing to me how fast it goes. And that's all a matter of perception. So when we perceive things, there's life is, and there's life is how it should be. So I want you to take a moment and think about what you believe life is, because what we believe life is may be different. Take a moment. I don't want to give you mine yet. Rumi gave us his in a very beautiful poem that Charlotte read. What do you believe life is? And call it out. And if you're online, write it in the chat. What do you believe life is? Learning. What else? Living our purpose. What else? Connection. What else? I got several things, so I missed them all. Intention. Relationships. Beautiful. Those are beautiful things. Now, if we believe that's what life is, then we're also going to be thinking that's how life should be. See how it flows? Our perception moves us to the ideas of what life is, and our belief about what life is. And remember, a belief is simply a collection of thoughts. But those collections of thoughts give us the idea of what life is. And then if life meets our expectations, we're in the flow. And we can recognize ourselves as the flow. But sometimes life does not meet our expectations, and then we move ourselves to a different place energetically, vibrationally. We move ourselves to a different dream sometimes, and then we don't typically go to our favorite place. We typically go to our least favorite place. Have you ever been there? It's kind of what we do as human beings. But the truth of us, the capital T truth of us, and by capital T, I mean the absolute truth of us, is that we are divine. What if we actually came into heaven the moment we were born on earth? What if? And all of our journey as being a spiritual being, having a human experience that's living spiritual law, spiritual being, human experience, spiritual law, what if that is all about each and every one of us uniquely learning to reveal that heaven that's already within us? That's what I believe. That is exactly what I believe. And so, next slide, please. The first step in the realization of life, This very first step is to always know that God is life. That divinity within each of us is life. It is abundant life. It's omnipresent. It's eternal. So what's in you already is every single capacity of God. If it's true of God, it is true of us, as our co-founder Myrtle Filmore says. If it is true of God, it is true of us. Take a breath into that. I don't want you to miss it. If it is true of God, it's true of me. Say that with me. If it is true of God, it's true of me. The first step is that realization of life. And life is that energy that propels us forward. Life is that energy that wells up within us when we have an impulse to do something. That impulse to call your friend. That impulse to do an act of kindness for somebody. Those are already within us. Within us is that longing to be in the flow of life and to take a step forward. And eventually, Reverend Eric Butterworth did this and recognized not only are we in the flow of life, we are the flow of life. We are the very flow of life. We are that place where God shows up. The second step is to make a positive connection with God life by declaring oneness with it. I am one with God. Will you say that with me? I am one with God. And if you're online, write it in the chat. I am one with God. So I'm one with you, and I'm one with God. And so then every action I have toward myself, and every action I have toward you, every way that we speak to each other, we're either really recognizing our oneness with God and being the flow of that oneness, or we're out of alignment. And let's face it, everybody gets out of alignment. The goal is not to never get out of alignment. The goal is to recognize when we do, take a breath and step back in. And it can be that simple, but so often we have not learned for it to be that simple. So step one, step two. Step one, to really recognize the abundance, the eternal presence of God, the unchangeable presence of God that we are. And then to declare, to call forth, to affirm, to recognize, and to embody that we are one with God. Now, this is Palm Sunday. And on this time in ancient Jerusalem, it wasn't exactly this time, but we celebrate it at this time, Jesus triumphantly rode into Jerusalem. And depending on whether you're looking at the synoptic gospels, the three that are very similar, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, or if you're looking at the Gospel of John, the writers have different ideas about what occurred. But the thing to remember is this action is in each of the Gospels. So when it's in all four of the Gospels, we know it probably did happen. So Jesus comes into Jerusalem. And if you're Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it's the first time in a long, long time. If you're John, he used to come and go regularly. But there was a feast. There was a celebration that was upcoming. So Jesus rides in, and people lined the pathway. They lined the pathway, and they were shouting, Hosanna. They were shouting how excited they were to see this man who had been creating miracles, or what they thought were miracles. And they laid down palm fronds in front of him. In that time, the palm fronds meant goodness and victory. And these were people who had been under Roman rule for many, 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 many years. And they believed on some level that Jesus was coming into Jerusalem to create a new kingdom, to create the kingdom of God. But they saw it as a physical kingdom, not as a kingdom that's already within them. They were a people that were looking for authority outside of themselves. They were looking for peace to be established outside of themselves. They were looking for someone else to overthrow that rule and to bring peace, instead of recognizing that we have all of the capacities of God. Therefore, peace is not out here. It's peace that we bring from within, that we have the ability, no matter what is happening outside of ourselves, to generate the peace from within, to generate harmony within, to generate joy within ourselves. It's not always easy. There are days that it's difficult. And those are days that I know I have to sit in meditation more. Those are days that I know I might need to reach out and find the solace of a friend. Those are days I know that sometimes I need to pick up a book that I know is inspirational for me and to read that book so that I can take from outside and help myself to remember the impulse that is already within me. Now, Jesus was a master teacher, a universal teacher. And what Jesus taught was the Father and I are one. And a few days later, Jesus is meeting in the temple with some people, and they say, "Are you really the Christ that you say you are?" And this shows up in John 10:30. "Are you really the Christ?" And Jesus says, "The Father and I are one." Now, some people have a difficult time with the Father, so don't let the words get in the way. Change it. The divine and I are one. The Buddha and I are one. Lao Tzu and I are one. Whatever terminology you want to use, don't let the words get in the way. Recognize your oneness and allow yourself to open up to and embody that oneness. And the people who were asking the questions of Jesus, the men who were asking the questions of Jesus, because the women were not allowed in that part of the temple, picked up rocks. They pick up rocks to stone him, and they said, "You are blasphemous." And Jesus came back and he said, "Don't you read your own teachings? Doesn't it say in Psalms, don't you know that you are God?" But the truth is, we're a spiritual being. We are divine, having a human experience where we have forgotten our divinity. And we come together in community such as this to remember, to reactivate within us when sometimes we need something from outside of us. And there is nothing wrong with that as long as we're also doing the inner work. And the men put down their stones, and Jesus said to them, "You may not believe me, but I want you to look at the works I've done. I want you to see the healing that I've done. I want you to hear the teachings, because you too can do those teachings." He doesn't say that exactly there, but that's stated in the Bible. Everything that the teacher, Jesus, could do, we have that capacity to do. The question is, in our perception, do we believe it? Are we living the I am as God created me, in the light, metaphysically as spiritual intelligence, in the love, healing and harmonizing, and glory, metaphysically as unity, in the light, in the spiritual intelligence, in the love and harmony that we have within us, that we are radiating forth to create the unity, in the light, in the love, in the glory? Are we living that? You're here. That tells me you are. You're online. That tells me you are, or you're looking for something. Would you do the next slide for me, please? We cannot get the clicker to work. Jesus said, "Do not worry about life." And he also said, "I came that you may have life and have it abundantly." Is this in our perception? This is the promise of the present. I came that you might have life. I came. Touch your heart, please. I came that you might have life. I came, I came that you might have life. I came that you might have life, and that together we live life more abundantly. But we are in the process of learning how to do this. For we all have programming. We have a superconscious mind, which is that part of us that is always in what we would call divine mind. There is only one mind. You'll hear in unity, there is only one mind, that we are part of that one mind. And that's what we often talk about is the superconscious mind. And then there's the conscious mind. When we know exactly what's going on, we can stay conscious about 4 seconds at a time, is what researchers say. And then there's the subconscious mind, and then there's the unconscious mind, and I'm not going there today. But our subconscious mind is about 95% of how we live our life. But one of the beautiful things about affirmation, one of the beautiful things about meditation is that we can recognize within us that we have the power already to create something different. If we don't like what's happening on the outside, we can create something different. I had the pleasure of being at the Golden Rule banquet on Thursday night. It was an amazing experience of listening to people who have done things that are changing the world because they had that inner impulse. And they believed that the world could be benefited from more goodness. Remember that walking in, that coming into Jerusalem on palm fronds, the goodness, the palm fronds represent the goodness. So coming in on the goodness, we believe that the world could have more goodness, and it has more goodness because what we're really doing is revealing the goodness that's already around us and calling it forth by our own actions. Would you change the slide for me, please? The Buddha says every experience, no matter how bad it seems, holds within it a blessing of some kind, and the goal is to find it. The goal is to find it. What's the blessing of every experience? Have you ever had an experience and you're like, why is this happening to me? We're in that to me consciousness. Why is this happening to me? And yet when we're willing to seek the goodness that's there, we bless things because blessing metaphysically pulls out and draws forth the goodness. Jesus prayed in the traditional Lord's Prayer, thy kingdom come, is how it is in the King James Version. And so often we think that that means thy kingdom is coming from way out there, just like the Jews thought that Jesus was going to establish a kingdom. But it really means the kingdom is already within us, and we are simply raising our vibration to reveal it. So take a moment and put your attention and your awareness on your heart. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing. Sometimes when we sing song something, it sticks a little bit more fully. Would you change the slide for me, please? In unity, we have the law of mind action. It says the same thing I just said. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing was written by Reverend Johnny Coleman, a unity minister, and somebody who started something, Foundation for Better Living. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing. The law of mind action in different phrase. We know it as thoughts and feelings held in mind produce similar thoughts and feelings. You might have heard it as thoughts and feelings held in mind produce after their kind. But sometimes that's hard to recognize. What's that mean? So when I'm driving and I'm frightened, which has happened a few times because I'm not used to driving on freeways, I have to remember I'm surrounded by safe and courteous drivers. All the way across country, I use that, and I've used it a multitude of times here too. But it's that instantaneous movement into knowing that life is abundant and I'm creating it. And I can look for the good in all things, even the one who zooms past me at what feels like 100 miles an hour. And I find that that fear that rises up inside of me, I am surrounded by safe and courteous drivers. I'm speaking a truth. Louise Hay pulled that forward. I'm speaking a truth, and it calms me. So the promise of the presence is that we have the peace that passes all understanding within us in all moments, but we have to do the work to seek it. So when I feel frightened, I can call forth the peace that's already within me. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing. Would you say that with me? I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing. So I'm going to ask you, and I'm not going to ask you to tell me yet, but I'm going to ask you to take this into the next week. What is your highest vision for this spiritual community? What is your highest vision for this spiritual community? Reverend Mindy and I are joining you, and we'll be changing things, as you might have already seen, and we'll be joining you in things, and we'll be inviting you into things, as you've already seen, 11 more candle lighters. How'd you like how I worked that in there? But this is what we're all about as community. The word unity is in community, coming together to truly energize and empower, to enlighten, to expand the consciousness of our world, to expand our own consciousness, and to be able to share that in love with each other. Let's take that into a time of meditation. Who have I come here to be? And what is the highest vision that I have for this community? What's the highest vision I have for myself? You know, if we're alive on this planet, which each and every one of us are in this moment, there is a vision and we still have a purpose. What is that for you? What do you want to create? And what will it take for you to reveal that which is already inside of you? What will it take for you to brush away anything that feels unlike love in your life? We're here in the beginning of what we think about in unity as Holy Week. I'm going to shift your words a little bit, our words a little bit. We're here in Wholeness Week because holy means wholeness. Tony's going to play, and let's take 90 seconds to really tune into our heart space, to be present with ourselves as the divine, to be the thinker that creates the thought, that creates the thing. Say it quietly in your mind. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing. And breathe into that. With every breath in and out, let that affirmation of truth circulate in your body. nearer than our breath. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing. What am I willing to create today? What love am I willing to reveal? What joy am I willing to live? What peace do I bring to this world as I move through my day? And tuck those thoughts in a corner of your heart. And then let's bring our awareness back to this time and this place. Bringing our awareness back to this now moment. Coming back differently because we have spent those moments in our divinity. Coming back differently because we have taken the time to consider, to think, and to reveal the truth of ourselves. Because we are, as God created us, in the light, in the love, and in the glory. Because we are that light, that love, and that glory. And so it is, and so we let that be in this moment. Amen.
And as we come back, I asked Reverend Mindy to come up and join us. I had Mervin, Nickie. Well, we need you both. So we're ready. They are so ready. Okay, what I have here to share with you is all the good tips about living and moving into the desert. I don't know if there's any traffic tips, but we can get those for you too if you need.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Our congregation put that together for you last week at service, and if you got more to share, I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so special to be welcomed in this way.
All right, so we were in the flow. We stepped out of the flow. Come right back into that flow. Take that breath that Reverend Nickie led us to. Drop back into that heart space. So we are change agents of the world. We are the thinkers. And how do we change? How do we create that change? Through our prayers, affirmations, being light. And that's thinking the thoughts. That creates the thing, which is giving from our abundance. And remember, abundance isn't out there in something that we go to or we get. It's all right here within. Since we are source, we are 100% abundance. And it's from that place that we as a spiritual community are committed to self-discovery, spiritual growth. And with your abundance, we support the work of the greater good as we enlighten, empower, and energize one another to uplift the world through a greater expression of God, creating the thing from our thoughts, since we're the thinkers. Okay. So with that, take a breath. Please stay in the flow, because I have the technical stuff to share with you. There are many ways to give here at Unity of Mesa financially to the spiritual work of this community. Indirectly, there's through the Amazon affiliate website links, and just add Unity Church of East Valley, our official name, as your favorite charity, and you can do that on the Smile Amazon, as well as the Fry's Rewards. And those checks come in every month, and they're so appreciated. And, you know, it's a small percentage, but it all adds up to bigger numbers. So thank you for those that have done it. I encourage all of you to step into that. And also, you can also give directly with our Give On link, which is our Banco link online, or through credit debit card payments in the bookstore. And there's information, all our information on how to give is online. And there's these beautiful little red buckets at all the doors that, you know, if you got a little something to drop in there or big somethings to drop in there, we always appreciate it. So with that, take another deep breath. Find yourself back in that alignment, that presence. And let's say together, divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We are so grateful for the gifts, but especially for the givers, the thinkers.
You might slip, you might slide, you might stumble and fall by the roadside, but don't let nobody drag your spirit down. You know we walk this road together, don't let nobody turn you around. I walk with the rich, I walk with the poor. I learn from everybody that's what living is for. Don't let nobody drag your spirit down. You know we walk this road together, don't let nobody turn you around. Some say yes, some say no, some say what? The way the wind blows, don't let nobody drag your spirit down. We will walk this road together, don't let nobody turn you around. I might say things that's strange to you. I might talk about good news, it's better than being blue, but don't let nobody drag my spirit down. I'm walking this road with you, friend. Nobody gonna turn me around.
Stand up. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, there's hospitality in the garden. Remember that there is a desire for you to be a candle lighter. And remember, Monday, Thursday at 7 o'clock. And let's pray out by using the prayer for protection as our prayer that James Dillard Freeman wrote. And I want to tell you that we have changed it. One more change for you today. We have changed it. We are following the way that Silent Unity uses the prayer for protection. So tune into your heart and let's say it together. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Tony's going to play one more verse, and then we'll see you in the garden.
You might sit back, and you might slide, and you might stumble and fall by the roadside, but don't let nobody drag your spirit down. You know we walk this road together. Nobody's gonna turn you around. Oh, we walked this road together. Nobody turned me around.
And all the people said, Amen. See you in the garden.